Also wir haben noch mehrere Wörter gelernt, Wortschatzübungen gemacht. Also es gibt bei uns jetzt auf dieser Stufe mehr Wortschatz und Vokabular und wenig Grammatik. Und die Grammatik, die übrig bleibt, ist nur, wie man ein Nomen in ein Adjektiv verwandelt und umgekehrt oder ein Verb in ein Nomen und umgekehrt verwandelt. Also das ist alles, was es die Grammatik betrifft. Sonst haben wir fast alle Grammatik schon hinter uns. Und jetzt, also Recording hat angefangen. Das ist in Ordnung. So, na schön. Keine Fragen. Ich möchte euch auch was fragen. Zwar, das machen wir vielleicht später. Ja, diese Leseübung wollten wir machen. Das haben wir nicht gemacht. Und zwar Nominalstil, Verbalstil, Dialekte. Ja. So let's start with something light. Also die neue Dialektik, das ist ziemlich lang. So let's try reading it. 15 Minuten, 20 Minuten vielleicht. Und dann versuchen wir, ohne in den Text wieder hineinzuschauen. Remember, we are setting a challenge for ourselves. Das ist eine Herausforderung. Ohne wieder hinein in den Text reinzuschauen, versuchen wir, diese 8 Sätze zu beantworten. So, es gibt hier 3 Alternativen, A, B, C. A bedeutet, die Aussage stimmt mit dem Text überein. Also was hier steht, stimmt mit dem Text überein. Übereinstimmen, match, overlap. Yeah, it overlaps, it matches. B bedeutet, die Aussage stimmt nicht mit dem Text überein. Also was hier geschrieben worden ist falsch oder ist nicht im Text. Das ist unter B. Und unter C verstehen wir, zu dieser Aussage steht nichts im Text. So without looking back into the text, would we be able to answer these 8 questions? Darum geht es hier. So sollten wir uns vielleicht zunächst die Sätze hier, die Aussagen hier mal lesen und dann lesen wir den Text. Ja, die 8 Aussagen, also einer nach dem anderen. Wir lesen die Aussagen und versuchen, die Aussagen zu verstehen. So let's try it out. Ja, Nummer 1.
Darf ich?
Ja, bitte, los.
Bis vor einigen Jahren noch wurde Dialektsprechenden Bildung und Intelligenz abgesprochen.
Ja. Aditi, a small tip here, bitte, and it applies to the others as well. Read this whole thing as one unit. And then you break it up at wurde mit einer kleinen Pause and continue with wurde further. Bis vor einigen Jahren noch wurde Dialektsprechenden Bildung und Intelligenz abgesprochen.
Sie haben das so gesagt, weil es ein Subjekt ist.
Genau, also das ist eine Einheit.
Okay.
It forms one unit. So bis vor einigen Jahren, you can say noch wurde. You'll have to say bis vor einigen Jahren noch wurde Dialektsprechenden Bildung und Intelligenz abgesprochen.
Okay.
So then you will get the meaning of the sentence easier. Right? So what does it mean?
Früher, ein paar Jahre, die Dialektsprecher Bildung heißt Construction.
Nein, education. Bildung is education. Ausbildung is training. Okay, so Bildung is education.
Okay. So education of a Dialektsprecher and
What does it mean here?
Nach meiner Meinung ist diese Sätze ist richtig.
No, we haven't read the text. So let's look at the sentence and see what it says. Till a few years ago, bis vor einigen Jahren noch, it's just still a few years back, बस कुछ ही साल पहले तक, Dialektsprechenden, Bildung und Intelligenz wurden Dialektsprechenden abgesprochen. So absprechen here means disputed or denied or something negative. So the education and intelligence of people who spoke in a dialect was denied, although they were told you speak in a dialect, so your education is poor, you belong to some very backward village or whatever. And naturally, since you don't have education, you are also not intelligent. It was disputed, disputieren, absprechen, oder verweigern. They were denied this because they spoke in a dialect. Right? Nummer zwei. Nummer zwei. Wer liest jetzt Nummer zwei?
Ich.
Ja?
Im Bundesland Niedersachsen können Schulkinder jetzt Dialekt im Unterricht lernen.
Ja, das ist klar, ne? Das versteht jeder hier. Im Bundesland Niedersachsen können Schulkinder jetzt Dialekt im Unterricht lernen. You have to give two pauses, one a small pause here before können, and then another small pause before dialect. Very, very small pause. Im Bundesland Niedersachsen können Schulkinder jetzt Dialekt im Unterricht lernen. So this pause tells you the content of the sentence. So in the state of Niedersachsen, school children can now learn dialect in the classroom. When you start breaking up and reading in this manner, the sentences literally come to life and give you the meaning straight away. We are able to disseminate the meaning very quickly. Right? So let's try the third one. Also wer möchte das lesen? Nummer drei.
Ja.
Ja.
Also
Nil.
bitte.
Okay,
Ja,
Achal. Ja, Achal dann.
Okay. Auch andere Bundesländer planen, die Dialektvermittlung in der Schule einzuführen.
Lovely. So, this is well read. Till planen is one unit. Auch andere Bundesländer planen, die Dialektvermittlung in der Schule einzuführen. Dialektvermittlung?
Dialect Association.
Was bedeutet Vermittlung?
Vermittlung, this one, congregation.
Association, sir?
Association.
Nein.
So division?
Sabha.
Nein. Vermittel is basically to give out. Information vermitteln. Ich vermittle die Information. I give the information. The best way here I give or convey. Das ist vermitteln. So if I say vermittel with education, then I would say I impart education. See how the word changes, and it's so precise here. School children are imparted education. I'm sure you come across this English word.
Mine, sir.
No?
Is that imparted? Yes, I've heard that.
Yes, to impart
Imparted.
education.
To provide.
Yeah, to impart education. So, wie wir auch im Deutsch haben, gibt es auch, also wo ist das? Mensch, das dauert so lange. Ja, so funktioniert das. I think before the end of the course, I need a new laptop, something which is faster. So langsam bei mir jetzt.
Sir, vermitteln ist auch ein Verb.
Ja, vermitteln ist ein Verb.
Und das heißt wieder mal to give out or to convey.
Convey, to impart, to sometimes to mediate, to arrange. Or there are multiple meanings here. Just don't look for one, just one. Multiple meanings. So, it depends on the context.
Und Association bedeutet assoziieren.
Association in what context?
Ich denke, gestern Tag haben wir gelernt ein anderes Wort, Versammlung. Ja, ich habe Versammlung.
Versammeln. Yeah, that's was anderes.
Ja.
Do you know this phrasal verb to impart education?
Vermittlung.
Yes, sir.
You have heard of this, to pay a visit?
Yes, sir.
So with the verb visit, with the noun visit, you have the verb pay. Similarly with education, you impart education. You can't convey education. Well, you can give education, but give education is very, very basic English. So to make it sound very official and high funda and good English, education is always imparted. So it goes very well with this noun, education, the verb impact. So when you say impart here, the better German would be to weitergeben. So here, Bildung, that is a catch for us. Wo sind wir jetzt? Wo sind wir jetzt? Yeah, here I think. No. There we go. I lost the page. And text, where's the text? Where's the text here? Yeah, sorry. Lehrbuch. So, Dialekt oder Sprache oder Bildung, school education is imparted. Because Vermittler on its own can also be an agent. Somebody who gives you information and who gives you details and contacts. That's also a Vermittler. So here Dialektvermittlung, imparting of dialect, an Einführen to introduce. So auch andere Bundesländer planen, die Dialektvermittlung in der Schule einzuführen. They're also looking forward to, sie haben die Absicht, sie haben vor, mit der Dialekt in der Schule anzufangen.
Einführen bedeutet anfangen.
To introduce. Ein Thema einführen.
A concept here, introduce, not people.
Yeah, normally when you say einführen, it's for a topic. Correct. Absolutely correct. To introduce, to implement, das ist dann einführen. Correct. With people, you can't use einführen. I can't introduce, let's say, Abhi here to all of you. Ich führe Abhi hier ein, geht nicht. Ich führe das Thema hier ein. Das ist möglich. So if you are introducing a person, it is vorstellen. Aber ein Thema, ein Subjekt, ein Fach oder etwas, worüber ich sprechen möchte, das kann man einführen. Okay, so that's good. Nummer 4 jetzt, Anil.
Ja, immer weniger Menschensprechen, Hekten Dialekte und immer weniger Menschen sprechen Akten-Dialekt und immer weniger interessieren sich dafür.
It's a very interesting sentence. Immer weniger sprechen echten Dialekt. Fewer and fewer people speak the real dialect. And fewer and fewer are interested in this. It's an interesting sentence. Now you have to see whether it's there in the text. Right? Abhi, bitte, Nummer 5.
Yes. Radiosender versuchen, die Menschen durch die Verwendung von regional gefärbter Sprache auf einer emotionalen Ebene zu erreichen.
Ja, ein ziemlich langer Satz, aber voller Bedeutung. Radiosender versuchen, die Menschen durch die Verwendung von regional gefärbter Sprache auf einer emotionalen Ebene zu erreichen. So radio broadcasts are trying to reach people by transmission of a regionally toned language, regionally colored language, at an emotional level by appealing to their instincts of mother tongue. That is a statement here.
So, Verwendung bedeutet?
Usage, application,
Usage, application.
etwas verwenden,
Yeah,
to use, to make use of. Verwenden, for example, nutzen, you can say nutzen, or gebrauchen, that's a good word here, then gebrauchen. Benutzen auch. Wir verwenden Verben in diesem Satz. Ja, benutzen, we use, we apply, anwenden. But it depends on the context. Basically, to use. Yeah, Aditi, yours, Nummer 6.
Im Fernsehen erreichen Sendungen, in denen nicht Hochdeutsch gesprochen wird, hohe Einschaltquoten.
This is interesting. So on the television set, transmissions, Sendung is something that is sent, a transmission.
Also channels.
Yeah, you can use channels, but it's not channels. It's basically whatever is broadcast. It could be, it could be in very, very many channels in films and wherever. So Sendung, Fernseh, Sendung bedeutet a transmission, a TV transmission, not specifically a channel.
Okay.
It could be in all channels also, for all you know. Ja, so im Fernsehen erreichen Sendungen hohe Einschaltquoten. Leave out the relative Satz. Then you have your Hauptsatz. So what does it mean? Im Fernsehen erreichen Sendungen hohe Einschaltquoten.
Einschalten is to switch on.
Yeah. Yes, correct. What will be Einschaltquoten?
Motivational speech.
Opening quote.
Uh, yes, you are close to it, Aditi. Can you think? Tell me in terms of television.
So maybe the language is of very high level.
No, it's Einschalt. This is Einschalt.
Um, Sir, from where like it operates any with any instrument from where it operates something like
नहीं आंचल नहीं आंचल you're losing out, you're losing track. Don't lose track. What is important for a TV transmission or a radio transmission?
signals.
No, no. Either radio or TV, what is most important? Look at it logically.
Popularity.
Listener.
Listener,
Hmm.
audience. The audience is important, correct? Without an audience, without people to either listen to or see, does it make sense to have a TV channel or a radio transmission?
No, sir.
Right. So im Fernsehen erreichen Sendungen hohe Einschaltquoten.
TRP.
Now you are right. Now you are right. Einschalten is basically to switch on. Right? To switch on. Quota here means rating. So your TV, through its transmission, achieves very high switch on rating. In other words, audience rating, audience share, popularity rating. What else is there in TV? There's one more.
So TRP, no?
Yeah, TRP, but it won't be, TRP in English, yes. Or a viewer's share. Or viewing figures.
So quote and berated quota?
Yeah, quota is, it can be two meanings here. In this case, it would mean rating. Yeah, rating, the quota. Don't mistake it with the English. I'm going to quote Mahatma Gandhi. I'm going to quote what he said or what she said. That quote is different. Quoting someone will be zitieren. Ich zitiere Nelson Mandela. Ich zitiere Hitler, als gesagt hat und so weiter. That is zitieren, Z, to quote somebody. But here, quota literally would mean the finance term quote. What is your quote for this house? How much would you quote for this house? How much would you quote for this painting? That is the financial quote here. How much would you rate it? How much would you evaluate it at? So this is the financial term, the quota. And from there, you put it into the TV terminology, Einschaltquote, audience rating. And as Aditi pointed out, TRP. So they achieve very high TRPs where in Sendungen, in denen nicht Hochdeutsch gesprochen wird.
Okay.
So TV transmissions, TV broadcasts, where Hochdeutsch, that is the standard German, also das Deutsch, das wir jetzt lernen, in denen, also in diesen Sendungen, werden kein Hochdeutsch gesprochen. In solchen Sendungen erreicht das Fernsehen hohe Einschaltquoten. Whether it is correct or not, we'll have to check. Ja, weiter. 7 und 8. We would like to take these two. Please read them so that we understand the sentences.
Ich,
Ja, bitte.
die neuen Medien tragen dazu bei, dass immer weniger Dialekt verwendet wird.
Neue Medien tragen dazu bei, Was ist beitragen?
Sir, to try. Versuche.
Nein. Ich gebe euch ein Beispiel. Ich habe eine Zeitung. Also Devkaran hat eine Zeitung. Warum nicht wir? Und er bittet immer um Beiträge.
To train you. No. Sir, to application.
Nein. Er hat mich auch um einen Beitrag gebeten. Sir, bitte schicken Sie uns Ihren Beitrag.
Participation
Sample.
or samples, articles.
Huh? Give me a better word. Article is okay. Ich muss auch etwas beitragen zu dieser Zeitung.
Columns.
Oh. Ich muss auch einen Artikel ihm geben. Also ich muss auch einen Artikel contribute.
Okay.
Beitragen to contribute. Also das ist ein trennbares Verb. So, die neuen Medien tragen dazu bei. The new media, the latest recent media, also contributes that fewer dialects are used. Dass immer weniger Dialekt verwendet wird. See the verb here, verwenden, and here the noun Verwendung. They also contribute that fewer dialects are used. On the last one here, yeah, where we would like to take the last brief sentence here.
Durch
Ja.
Dialekt.
an sich von anderen absetzen.
Yeah. So what does it mean here? What is the verb here telling us? Sich absetzen. Absetzen, also absetzen.
Sir, to separate.
Separate, well done. Break away. To break away, to move away. So if you use a dialect, you will be breaking away from the others. Because what you speak is different from what the others are speaking in and about. So you will be, in a way, left out. Right? So that is called absetzen, sich absetzen. Now, are these statements correct? Let's see if we can get that Leseübung going today and check whether we can find some truth in these statements. And by the way, the concentration right now is on Leseübung. After that, I would like you people to look at these verbs: Absprechen, Einführen, erreichen, the verbs given here basically, how they've been used. Because I want to use these same sentences, once you've understood them, to convert into the nominal style. Can we put those sentences using a noun in place of the verb? Also Absprechen, Absprache. Lernen, das Lernen, die Einführung, das Interesse, der Versuch, ja, die Erreichbarkeit, der Beitrag. So I want you to see if this is possible. We must know now not only the verbs, but also the noun equivalents of such verbs. So that when we use the Verbalstil oder der Nominalstil, we know exactly what to change and how to change. It's all about language.
Okay, sir.
It's all about language, nothing more than language. Instead of using only nouns, we sometimes put it in in using verbs. Right? For example, you can use to put it in Hindi. For example, ganz einfach, kahavat. There is a saying. It's a noun. A kahavat hai. There is a saying. Then I can also convert that into a verbal style and say, लोग कहते हैं, कहा जाता है, कहते हैं. It is said. So from the noun, a saying, I come to the verb to say or कहते हैं. So I've changed the style of the sentence from a noun to a verb. I've given you a simple example here. So how do we do that with sentences? And that will tell us about also this here. Verbalstil und Nominalstil. Remember, our aim is to understand this concept behind this. How do we change these? Ignore this part. I'm not very keen on prepositional, possessive, or whatever. It depends on the sentence actually. If it is a noun in the sentence, you have to put it into a verbal form. How do we do that? If there's a verb being used in the sentence, how can I make that into a noun? Yeah, for example, look at this one, beobachtet. Die Forschung beobachtet. Research observes. In research, it has been observed. Yeah, there are observations, sorry, in research, there are observations. Also in der Forschung gibt es Beobachtungen. So this is what we want. Or look at this here. Von den Normen der Muttersprache abweichen. To deviate from the norms of mother tongue. You have to change this into Abweichung. So how do we change this verb to noun and so on? So we must know both the forms from now on. And that is the object of this exercise. With something that we know, are familiar with, how do we do this? Also hier Einführung, Absprache, der Versuch, verwenden, die Verwendung und so weiter. Let's check this out. Let's read quickly here. Who will take up the first 10 lines? Also bis yeah. Let's go through now quickly. It shouldn't take too long.
So darf ich?
Ja, bitte, los.
Die allermeisten Menschen, die heute erwachsen sind und statt Hochdeutsch zuerst einmal einen Dialekt gelernt haben, dürften eine solche oder ähnliche Geschichte erlebt haben. Sie hatten sich verliebt, fragil und noch war die Partnerschaft und dann klingelte irgendwann das Telefon und die Mutter war dran. Oder der Vater oder ein alter Freund von früher und zum allerersten Mal hörte einen der neuen Partner Dialekt sprechen. Die Angerufenen fürchteten nach solchen Telefonaten sofort wieder verlassen zu werden.
That is a danger. And I kind of agree to this paragraph. What have you understood from this paragraph?
Ja, also die meisten Leute, die jetzt erwachsen sind, they have experienced the similar stories and they have fallen in love with like so fragile means fragile.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fragile, fragile, yeah.
So fragile noch war die Partnerschaft. That means how delicate that partnership was.
Yep.
Und dann klingelte irgendwann das Telefon and then suddenly the telephone rings und die Mutter war daran. The mother was there or the father.
Oder in
Oder
Altersform.
also.
Yeah. So what does it mean here?
Okay,
Abhi,
the other
Anand,
person gets
the
to know
others, yeah,
about a
Adi,
new
yeah.
dialect.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
The one
Uh-huh.
who the one who calls up suddenly at someone's place, he heard the new dialect and then he got scared of it.
No. Du hast den Faden verloren. You lost the thread. You lost the thread.
So fusion means to afraid.
To be afraid, yes.
Yeah, and then that the person who has called up, he's afraid to call up again.
No, it's nothing to do with that. No.
Ich weiß nicht.
Go by the
Support
first
readers.
statement. Die allermeisten Menschen, die heute erwachsen sind und statt Hochdeutsch zuerst einmal ein Dialekt gelernt haben,
Okay.
zuerst einen Dialekt gelernt haben, haben vielleicht auch eine ähnliche Geschichte erlebt. They might have. Das dürften hier mit Umlaut ist K2. They may very well have experienced such or a similar story. They might have Conjunctive 2, because I don't know whether they really have. So dürften, remember umlaut with modal verb will come in K2. Otherwise the Präteritum form doesn't have an umlaut. Können, konnte, gekonnt. Müssen, musste, gemusst, ohne Umlaut. Dürfen, durfte, gedurft, ohne Umlaut. Ein Umlaut wird eingesetzt nur bei den K2-Formen. Dürfen, dürfte. Können, könnte. Müssen, müsste. So this is a K2 might have experienced, erleben, such or a similar story. And what is the story? Also diese Leute, they've learned the dialect before they learned Hochdeutsch. Sie hatten sich verliebt, einen Partner gefunden, neuer Partner natürlich mit einer anderen Sprache oder nur mit Hochdeutsch. Und dann klingelte das Telefon und die Mutter dieser Person, dieser Mensch, ja, dieses Menschen ist da oder der Vater oder der Freund. Und natürlich wird Dialekt gesprochen. Und das ist ein Schock für den neuen Partner. Und die Angerufenen, the people called, the recipient of this telephone call, that is the partner's husband or partner's spouse, the recipient, is afraid of such telephone calls. Telefonat is a telephone call or anruf, because they have a problem with being left out. You are speaking in code and you are speaking a new language I don't understand, and you might be speaking against me. I mean, it could lead to all kinds of difficult situations.
So was heißt das? Sofort wieder verlassen zu werden?
Sie fürchteten, why? Because they could, after such telephone Gespräch, they could be, left in the lurch by the partner. Because a partner can be suspicious of this person. What language are you speaking in? You must be speaking against me. You must be plotting against me. Remember, the partnerschaft is very fragile here. So there's constant mistrust, distrust. It's not a solid basis. And when this happens, the partner could always be suspicious. This is human nature.
Okay.
It's totally human nature. So once the distrust or mistrust comes in, the other partner is unsure. I don't know, you're always speaking in a dialect I don't understand. Why can't you speak in a language I can also understand? Why do you speak in this new language? So I don't think we are compatible. We should not be staying with each other when you are using a different language in the same house that you and I live together. This is a situation which is very much there in some households, nicht bei allen, aber das stimmt für alle, einige.
Sir, einmal, also früher in Geschichte.
Auch heute eigentlich. Auch heute. Think of a situation where ein Ehepaar hat zwei Sprachen zu Hause. Der Mann ist aus Nordindien und die Frau aus Südindien. Also der Mann kann nur Hindi und die Frau kann nur Telugu oder Tamil oder Kannada or whatever. One of the South Indian languages. Or Malayalam. One of the South Indian languages. And there's a family visit. Forget the phone call. Maybe a visit from the family. Die Frau kann nicht gut Hindi, also die beiden kommunizieren nur auf Englisch. Also die kann nicht gut Hindi. Entweder oder die Eltern beiderseits machen einen Besuch. Natürlich die Eltern des Mannes sprechen in der Dialekt oder in der Muttersprache. Und das Gleiche betrifft auch die Frau. So naturally, the other partner does not understand what the conversation is about. So you have the suspicion, especially there's some giggling and laughing and pointing and stuff like that. If that comes through, then there's always suspicion, what were you talking about? Why not talk in a language that I can also understand? Otherwise, I feel left out.
Okay.
It's a human reaction. It can happen.
And
Anywhere.
sir,
Ja, Aditi, Frage.
und Sir, dieser Unsum allerersten Mal, das heißt immer.
Nee, the allermeisten, most of all people. Most of all people who started first with a dialect and then came to Hochdeutsch. They didn't start learning Hochdeutsch at school or at home. They started learning the dialect spoken either by the mother or the father or by the parents. This problem is there in India as well. Very much there. Very much there. Yeah, now allermeisten is most of all the people, those who learned a dialect. Not aller mention, not the meisten mention, allermeisten.
Yeah.
So that means a major chunk, a major part. Very few of them have experienced this uncertainty, insecurity, but most of them have experienced this insecurity. Not all, but a major part of them. Yeah, if you want an example, very quick one, then we come back here. My place, we communicate in English and Hindi. Also meine Frau und ich und auch unsere Tochter. Wir kommunizieren auf Hindi oder Englisch predominantly. Die Muttersprache meiner Frau ist Hindi, meine Muttersprache ist Telugu. Also meine Muttersprache ist also nur Sprache meiner Mutter. It's not exactly my mother tongue because I'm not very fluent or very good in it. I can't read or write, but I can speak. Because I've never lived here in South India to be able to read and write that. I've lived in the North and I'm more comfortable with Hindi. Reading, writing, speaking, überhaupt kein Problem. Überhaupt kein Problem. So when I get a call from one of my relatives from, let's say, the village or the town that I was born in ages back, they don't know any new language. Their relatives are older than I am, my aunt maybe, or somebody else. English education was not a must those days. They speak only in Telugu with me. And what will happen there? Meine Frau versteht das nicht. Sie kann Telugu nicht sprechen. So when I am speaking in Telugu, and while talking to my relatives in Telugu on the telephone, I might be looking at her at that moment. They might have cracked a joke and I start laughing while looking at her. And that can be misinterpreted. Aber the point is, unsere Partnerschaft ist nicht so fragil. So it's a different story. So I can't be the majority here. I belong to that minority where it's okay with us. So that is what is being explained here. Okay, we'll take the next 10 lines up to the end, from here till here. There are lots of, forget the dialect part, lots of verbs here. Lots of verbs usage. Beautiful usage here in this text.
Darfish,
Ja, bitte?
bis vor wenigen Jahren gilt, wer Dialekt spricht, als ungebildet, als ein bisschen minder bemittelt. Wer etwas auf sich hielt, legte seinen Dialekt ab, lernte Hochdeutsch und vermied, den Dialekt auch nur anklingen zu lassen. Seit einigen Jahren löst auch dieses Stigma langsam auf. In Niedersachsen bringen einige Schulen Kindern Blatt bei. In Hamburg dürfen fortan Stadtteilschilder in dieser Sprache aufgestellt werden.
Ja, und das ist jetzt sehr interessant, was hier gesagt worden ist. Till a few years ago, gelten, the verb gelten, galt, gegolten. I think we know the verb, right? Gelten.
Guilt. No?
Yeah, as guilt is the conjugation. And if you look at the
Where it consists
forms
of.
here, gelten, galt,
Apu.
gegolten. This is my shortcut of giving you everything there is to know about the verb here. Gelten conjugation is as guilt.
So that
Right?
means
Third person singular. This is what you need to know, not the first and the other person conjugation. You just need to know the third person. Once you know this, you can work out the remaining conjugation. How? I think that also I've explained to you once. I give you this conjugation here. What concerns us is this one I know now. Er spricht. From er spricht, you can get the second person do form conjugation very easily because you need an ST here. So you add an S to this T. Correct? You simply add an S to this T. So once I know the third person singular, I know the second person do form conjugation. For this first person conjugation, ich pressure, I go directly to the verb. I remove the N, ich pressure. The plural comes straight from here again. For the plural of do, again I go back to this form, remove the en, put a t. And the last plural that I have here is also taken from here. So as long as I know this one, third person singular, my problems are for the conjugation of the rest of the table is solved. So similarly with gelten, gelten is to be valid, to hold good, to be valid. You can't conjugate this with ish. Ish gelte, yeah, it's possible, but then you need a very specialized conjugation. I'm valid as du giltst auch. You are also valid. Er gilt als, yeah, possible, but contextual usage. So gelten is normally used with Sachen, as gilt. Die Karte gilt bis zum nächsten Monat. The card is valid till next month. Mein Visum gilt 5 Jahre. And das ist dann gelten. Im Präteritum, das ist dann galt. Und im Perfekt wird das Verb als gegolten buchstabiert. Gegolten. So you have all information given here under in one line, very close to each other. Gelten, galt, gegolten. I also sent you a list of these verbs, if you remember, with the change in the spellings. Preteritum und perfect. Right in the beginning, you'll find them associated like this, EAO. Gelten, galt, gegolten. So, zurück zu unserem Text hier, ganz schnell. Bis vor wenigen Jahren galt, wer Dialekt spricht, als ungebildet. Also ungebildet, he was uneducated. All those who spoke a dialect were uneducated. And then comes a very interesting word, minder bemittelt. Also ein bisschen minder bemittelt. In other words, Minderheit means minority. Here, minder bemittelt is a very interesting word. It means to have a low income, to be lacking in something. They were lacking in something, either in income or in status or something, because they did not speak Hochdeutsch. Das ist wie heutzutage in Indien. Wer Englisch nicht kann, wer Englisch nicht gut kann oder Englisch nicht kann, gilt als minder bemittelt. Those who don't speak English, they are considered, they are taken to be, they are held good or they are valid as somebody lacking in education. अरे उसको English नहीं आती, that means he's uneducated. I'm sure you'll agree to that statement. It's said in such a manner, अरे English नहीं आती उसको, that means I'm not educated. Or I belong to a low income group, I could not afford the education. And so this is then minder bemittelt. So very interesting word. Lots of vocabulary here for you people. Ja? Und wer etwas auf sich hielt, legt seinen Dialekt ab. unvermied den Dialekt auch nur anklingen zu lassen. So whoever considers himself to be educated, he refuses, denies, or turns down, rejects his dialect, learns Hochdeutsch and avoids to sound like his dialect.
Sir, anklingen zu lassen bedeutet?
Anklingen, to sound, to let oneself sound away from the dialect, or to let the dialect sound in his high German or his standard German. See, when you speak English, we speak English with an Indian accent, right? Many of us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, good morning. Good morning, Ji. Yeah, for example, even that statement, good morning, Ji. Oh, guten Morgen. This guten Morgen is very much like namaste.
Yeah.
The same tone, and it's that accent is coming through. So they try to avoid, vermeiden, to avoid. They try to avoid even the slightest bit of dialect in their language. Seit einigen Jahren löst sich dieses Stigma langsam auf. Auflösen, to be done away, to dissolve, to go away. So since a few years, the stigma, he speaks a dialect, is slowly going away. Das Problem ist, Niedersachsen, da wird Plattdeutsch gesprochen. Plattdeutsch ist ein Dialekt. It's one of the most difficult dialects to understand, like something similar to Bayerisch in terms of understanding, comprehensibility. So what have they done in Hamburg, up north? They are using Stadtteilschilder in dieser Sprache. Some parts of the city have signboards in Plattdeutsch, so that people get used to the dialect as well. It is nothing to be ashamed of. So to a certain extent, what we have found here is that this statement, A, B, C, was stimmt hier? Bis vor einigen Jahren noch wurde Dialekt Sprechen in Bildung und Intelligenz abgesprochen. Is it A, B oder C?
Sir, A.
A is richtig. Absolutely correct. Because remember, what is written there is actually this part here, ungebildet. He was uneducated here. Till a few years ago, those speaking dialect were denied the luxury of being called educated or having some intelligence. So this sentence given here is nothing but what is here in simple terms. Minder bemittelt. Und auch der zweite Satz hier, im Bundesland Niedersachsen können Schulkinder jetzt Dialekt im Unterricht lernen. Ist es A, B oder C?
Nicht im Text erwähnt.
Ja. Look at this sentence here. In Niedersachsen bringen einige Schulen Kindern Platt bei. Beibringen. Richtig, also A wieder. Was ist beibringen?
To teach.
To teach, unterrichten.
Ja.
Ja, unterrichten. So, auch dieser Satz stimmt. Das ist auch A. And this is the object of this exercise. Remember, it will not be given directly. If it is given directly, we are going back to A1. So since we have to test language or test ourselves in our capacity of understanding a sentence, what is given here has been reformulated a bit and given to you here, and you have to now agree, disagree, or say, well, it's not there. That's the object of the exercise. Kapiert? Verstanden? All of you, we got the what is wanted here?
Yes, sir.
So, would you like to try this so Hausa and find out?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I have a suggestion for you. Ihr könnt auch alle neue oder unbekannte Wörter unterstreichen. If you don't have a hard copy, no problem. Make a list of all new words to each one of you. What is new for one may not be new for the other. So make a list of these new words. Try not to look at the dictionary for the meaning. Not. N-O-T. Try not to look at the dictionary for the meaning. See if you can ermitteln to get die Bedeutung vom Text, von dem Satz, vom Kontext. Check that through the context. Can you get the meaning from the context? Okay?
Ja.
Da wir morgen keinen Unterricht haben, könnt ihr vielleicht langsam mal durchlesen. There's a reference to a book called Asterix. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this book, Asterix. Anybody? Have you heard of this?
Nee.
And you're missing out something in life as far as I mean, or as far as I'm concerned. This is one of my favorite comic books. This is the Asterix comics. The English used in these comics, the original is in French. And I was in touch with a French translator years back, and he told me if you don't read French, you don't know French, then you're missing out half the fun in the comics. And I told him, look, I know English, I know German. But he says, no, the original French is absolutely killing. You'll laugh to death if you read the original French. I know I laugh to death when I read it in English. I also laugh to death when I read it in German. The translations are excellent. This film should be on YouTube. There's a preview. There's a full-fledged film here. Please look at the YouTube channel. You'll probably find Asterix there. There's also a Netflix, by the way. You can start with the English and then move over to the German later. So the context here is these Asterix comics. They are fantastic for language. English oder auch Deutsch. Fantastic. All kinds of colloquial expressions and double meanings of verbs and so on. Beautiful. Out of the world. So, do try them out. So it talks about that. And then about the various dialects here. Also, TV and newspapers have been mentioned here. Tagesschau, Tagesthemen. And an experiment that was conducted here. A couple of words here, for example, moin, as a shorter form of Guten Morgen. In Hamburg oder in Norddeutschland sagt man Moin Moin und nicht Guten Morgen. Als Gruß sagt man Moin Moin. This is not Deutschland. even today. Even those who know Standard Deutsch oder Hochdeutsch, sie sagen Moin Moin.
Unser Assistent will welcher Teil des Deutschland?
Not Deutschland, Hamburg.
Hum.
Right? So it's still Moin Moin and not Guten Morgen. So it's an interesting text, a little bit of information about Germany and Germans and how they speak German in the background, plus our Aufgabe here on the vocabulary. So give it a shot, because I'm not going to read very many texts here. Most of them don't pertain or they're not relevant to what we are learning now. After we do that, I want to do these exercises where we substitute this entire phrase here with maybe one word or just a couple of words. And that is the object here. How do we learn newer phrases? How do we substitute one phrase for with a synonymal phrase und wie können wir Deutsch aussprechen oder besser lernen? Das interessiert mich. Then we'll move on. I will not use this. I'll skip this here. I don't want to know about this, and then go on to the next lesson. Grammatic for 2 is over. I'll move to the third one. Okay, so let's try now a small exercise before we stop for the day. We have a list here. Welche Verben sind euch bekannt? Let's start with that.
Intensive trainer.
Yeah, intensive training. Hast du das, Anil?
Yes, sir. Ich habe.
Okay, das ist dann seit...
Ja, ich habe gefunden. Ja, ich habe gefunden.
Okay,
Ja.
gut. Ha.
So greifen bedeutet to hold.
What you know, you tell me. What you know.
Angreifen, to have a grip on something.
No.
No.
No. It's basically what you know you have to tell me. Start with that.
Sich entschuldigen, to apologize. Verwirren is too confused.
So you know verwirren, yeah. Überraschen?
Überraschung, surprise. Zustimmen, to agree. To agree.
Yeah. Verletzen?
Sir, I know, but I forgot.
Verletzen.
To injured?
Leave it.
Nee, also das kann zweierlei Bedeutungen haben. Gestern beim Fußballspielen habe ich mir verletzt.
So injured.
Lost.
Okay, injured. Okay, dann provozieren.
To provoke.
Ja. Ignorieren.
Ignore.
To ignore.
Okay. Schlagfertig sein.
Sir, you told us, na?
I did.
Kapil Sharma.
Kapil Sharma.
Richtig. This is the thing that we can, with a click, we can say Kapil Sharma, schlagfertig sein.
Yeah, although to be with a ready wit. Okay, now let's look at the verbs that we know and say, do these verbs mean you are being aggressive towards somebody, or are you being defensive towards somebody?
Defensive.
Which of these verbs that you know are aggressive and which of these are defensive?
Defensive, zustimmen.
Yeah.
Sich entschuldigen.
Yeah, well done.
Ignore.
Yes.
Das
Yeah.
verbal attackieren oder contra?
Yeah, it's correct. So far, so good. You're going well. Zustimmen.
So the oil will come in contra. I mean, ignorieren auch.
Yeah.
What about provozieren? Will that also be contra?
No.
No. Mine.
That will be here, no? That will be verbal attackieren. You provoke somebody.
So the defensive verlassen
No,
in
wait,
verbal
wait.
attackieren.
Wait. 1 minute. So this will be verbal attackieren, provozieren.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just doing the verbs that we know first. Once we,
Lästern.
yeah.
Locker bleiben, verbal attackieren.
You think so?
So locker bedeutet somebody who is stiff.
No.
Locker hair or curly hairs?
Fine. Don't look at it from there.
Locker somebody who's not flexible, who is stiff.
Locker here, locker bleiben means to be relaxed, to remain cool.
Contra given.
Yeah, this is contra. Locker bleiben is contra.
Das Ausruhen oder erholen.
Yeah, also ignorieren basically. Man bleibt cool. Das ist locker bleiben.
Okay.
So now you have a few meanings here, and you understood what the concept of this exercise is. So now it's left to you to now, once you know the meaning of the verbs, to assign them accordingly. Correct? You can do that.
Lästern ist auch. Lästern.
Ja, einen Moment. Ja, aber einen kleinen Moment.
Okay.
So, sobald wir die Bedeutung der Verben kennen oder können, sind wir in der Lage, die Verben richtig anzuordnen. Kommt es hier oder kommt es hier? So let's look at this verb, angreifen. The noun is Angriff, der Angriff. Und
Grab something.
nein, angreifen bedeutet attackieren.
Sorry.
Angreifen bedeutet attackieren. To attack somebody, das ist angreifen. Heftig kritisieren, that is all synonym, angreifen. To criticize somebody very strongly oder attackieren. I'll try as far as possible to give you the meanings in German so that your vocabulary should increase, right? Otherwise, I'll give you the English one also if you so want. Belästigen bedeutet jemanden stören und konstant stören, kontinuierlich stören.
To disturb somebody.
Ja, kontinuierlich.
So we use it with the work when jemand an die arbeiten, dann benutzen man belästigen, ne?
Ja, also das manchmal sagt man, also sagt die Mutter den Kindern auch, also belästig mich nicht.
Exhaustieren.
Nein. To harass, to bother, to annoy. Yeah, to annoy or to harass or to bother, das ist belästigen. Stören, aber continually stören. Harassment has to be continuous. So belästigen, right? So then comes beleidigen. Beleidigen und verletzen sind also ähnlich in der Bedeutung. Beleidigen und verletzen.
Okay.
Beleidigen bedeutet, it will be very difficult here now. In German, jemanden in seiner Ehre angreifen, to attack somebody's honor or respect. Give me an English word.
Disrespectful.
So that would mean to insult somebody, to offend somebody, beleidigen. Ja, seine Worte haben mich sehr beleidigt. His words have offended me a lot. Beleidigen.
Okay.
Und dann kommt brüskieren mit O-Umlaut. I don't know if you can guess the word. Brüskieren bedeutet, you should be able to guess it actually in English. Jemanden will etwas sagen oder jemand sagt oder möchte etwas sagen und ich unterbreche ihn und sage, stopp.
To interrupt.
Ja, und ich sage dann, stopp. Das stimmt nicht. Ich weiß, was du sagen willst. Even while somebody...
विद्रोह करना किसी बात का
नहीं. Somebody wants to say something and I interrupt before the person can finish and say, हाँ मुझे मालूम है तुम क्या कहने वाले हो. Ich weiß, was du sagen willst. I know what you want to say. Also in unhöflicher Weise behandeln. To talk back to somebody in a very rude manner, to snub somebody. That is brusquieren, to speak very brusquely with somebody. You know the word brusque in English? B-R-U-S-Q-U-E.
Yes, sir.
In a very brusque manner, that means in a very insulting manner, to speak with somebody in a very insulting manner. That's brusquieren. Okay, defensive verlassen that we know. Erniedrigen. Do you know the word nieder? Hoch und nieder. Hoch und nieder.
High and low. Niedriger. Something very, very low level.
Genau. Also jemanden erniedrigen.
Somebody stooped to a very low level.
Jemanden, someone, किसी को erniedrigen bedeutet?
किसी को नीचा करना.
Ha. So what would the English word? Well done.
To low down someone. To look at someone. To humiliate.
Yes. Super. To humiliate somebody. That's erniedrigen. Is that good? See, the German words you didn't know, but you know all the other words, other meanings you know. Gleichgültig tun.
So equality. To do something with equality. Gleichgültig is equilibrium.
Yes. What does it mean, gleichgültig tun? For example, one of you, let's say, for whatever reason, comes to me and says, "Sir, I don't understand this German word. Please help me. Please, sir, you're the only one who can help me. Please, sir, sir." I say, "Ich weiß es nicht." Because I'm very angry with you, maybe. I say, "Ich weiß es nicht. Ich erkläre das nicht. Also, ich weiß es nicht." I don't show my anger. Ich bin ganz gleichgültig. Nein, ich weiß es nicht. We can go wherever you want. Also bitte. Mir ist es egal. Es ist mir gleichgültig. Das ist nicht mein Problem. Das ist dein Problem.
Not to bother.
Also das ist mir gleichgültig. Ich kann dir gar nicht helfen.
Or not to pay attention to the topic.
Yeah, you've understood the meaning, but the word here is to be indifferent.
Okay. Sir, Gleichgültigkeit is your equilibrium, right?
That is, Gleichgültigkeit is equanimity.
There is a word.
Equanimity bedeutet.
Please put yourself on mute.
But Abhi saying something?
No, sir, he's
Abhi.
talking to somebody.
Oh, I see. So when you say gleichgültig,
पैसे के बारे में
can you give him a call? Can you give him a call?
अभी अपनी दुनिया में है इस टाइम पे.
Also, das ist ihm gleichgültig.
Yes.
He is indifferent. That is unimportant to him. Er ignoriert uns. Okay, so we have taken both the words together. Er ignoriert uns und das ist ihm gleichgültig. He is indifferent. He is showing an apathy. This is indifference. Also Gleichgültigkeit is indifference. You know, it's like that that very nice word in Punjabi which I used to use once upon a time. We use it very often on friends. Mannu ki. You know the phrase in Punjabi? Mannu ki.
Sir,
Yes,
Sanu
sir.
ki.
सर सानू की लेना. अस्सी की
Yeah.
करना है.
You can also use it with Mannu ki. अच्छा
Yeah,
तेरे को
Menu की फर्क पैंदा है.
बिल्कुल 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 बिल्कुल. So that is a Gleichgültigkeit. कल
Okay,
पता है मैंने सारा ग्रामर सीख लिया. हाँ तो मैंने की फर्क पड़ रहा है.
Ganz richtig, sir. Punjabi do talk like
I'm
that.
totally indifferent. मुझे क्या लेने देना उससे? That is Gleichgültigkeit. So what do I have to gain from that? It's all the same to me. I'm indifferent. Also, this
So
is
there is
Gleichgültigkeit.
one more word I see quite often here and there with my Punjabi friends. Sanu ki load lena.
Yeah. I mean, Punjabi is a different language altogether. But every language has got its beauties.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So then comes this what? Ironisieren. That I think you know.
Yeah.
No, sir. Is that
Ironic. Ironic.
irony? Okay, okay.
Do you know the word ironisieren here?
Yeah. I thought that is what he was talking. Ironisieren means irony.
Not irony. You know the meaning of the word irony, no? Okay. That's
हाँ,
okay.
हाँ, sir.
But ठीक है. Let's go to the next one. Jemanden herunterputzen.
किसी को नीचे
What's it putzen?
So to clean.
To clean. Herunterputzen.
To clean under.
Nine. नीचे को खींच के धो देना.
अच्छा, to wipe off.
Nine. किसी को धो देना. What does it mean?
ले लो.
To beat someone.
No, I think to treat someone very badly.
Yes. Somebody is trying to be very, very high funda and all that. And then this someone you bring down and slam him with a verbal sense. You treat him very badly in a verbal sense.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is herunterputzen. Bring him down and give him a good washing. Verbal washing.
It's like kind of a debate and you really
No
put
debate.
that
Not necessarily a debate. There's a person who says, मेरे को first prize मिला है. And he's very pompous about it and he's showing off.
किसी का घमंड तोड़ना.
बहुत बुरी तरह तोड़ना. धो देना उसको. Literally धो देना.
दो दिन, yeah.
From putzen. Think of the word putzen. You're washing that fellow totally, whoever it is.
So it can be taken as an aggressive manner as well, huh? कि किसी को सच में मारना.
Yes, of course. You attack somebody verbally, na? Verbal attack kiye. To put somebody on the carpet.
Okay.
Okay. Conturn. English में बताओ.
Contra.
Similar word.
Contra.
Nine, to counter somebody. To
So
counter.
counter attack.
Yes. Again, verbal attack here. That is conturn.
Crank house.
Nine. Kränken is umlaut here, Anil.
Oh.
Kränken here is ein Synonym für beleidigen,
To injured.
verletzen, beleidigen, verletzen.
Okay, sir.
So what is verletzen?
To injured.
Injured.
To injure somebody, beleidigen,
Same thing. To offend
Same.
something.
right? And
Insult.
so kränken is also the same, to offend.
Beleidigen to disrespect, na? To disrespect.
Same thing with kränken. You hurt somebody mentally,
Okay.
not physically, but mentally.
Whereas verletzen can be physically, yes, sir?
Physically, yeah, verletzen can also be physically. But kränken und beleidigen is more in the mental sense. In this, you're hurt in the mind, basically. Imagine somebody gives you a present. Man bekommt ein Geschenk. Let's say a pen like this is given to you as a present. In the presence of that person or with that person, you go to a stationery shop and find out, ये pen कितने का है? How much is the pen? Definitely less than 10 rupees, no? Don't you think the other person will be cranked? Isn't it? The other person will be cranked, will be hurt. When you try to find out the cost of a gift that person has given you, zum Beispiel.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is kränken. Also jemanden, sorry, Akkusativ, demutigen, to demotivate somebody. Kränken. Okay, what is our lesson we did yesterday? Remember to talk shit about somebody.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we did this yesterday. Okay. Ins
Gossip.
leere laufen lassen.
So lira means empty.
Wonderful.
Chup chup ke asla.
No, Anil, no, Anil. No. Aditi had recht. Follow that clue that Aditi has given.
Nine laufen. Sorry.
Follow the clue Aditi has given. Ins leere laufen lassen. Yeah.
मतलब
Okay.
ऐसी किसी चीज के पीछे भागना.
There is nothing for bhagoing because it's leer.
Leer, empty.
Huh.
खोदा पार निकली चाहिए सर.
Yeah, Abhi?
सर खोदा पहाड़ निकली चाहिए ऐसा सेंस है क्या?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
That is a different Wendung. That is to make a mountain out of a molehill. In German is an Elephant aus einer Mücke machen. To make an elephant out of a mosquito. That is a different proverb, a different Redewendung. Ins leere laufen lassen, to let something go on into the emptiness. In other words, to not react. Also, etwas negieren, in the sense you don't respond to anything. To let things as they are. Then do I say, I don't react. So it's basically a contra. If somebody is attacking me verbally, somebody comes to me and says, what do you think of yourself? You think you are the greatest teacher in the world? You know so much of German. Ich lasse das ins Leere laufen. I let it run into empty. Whatever he says, let it go behind me into something. Ich reagiere dagegen überhaupt nicht. So I let it lie. So can I keh ke chale jao? Also das ist auch ein Kontra geben dann. Ja, that happens very often. Wenn man nicht auf etwas reagiert, das ist eine Negation. Ne?
Yeah.
So das Kontra geben, ins Leere laufen lassen. Oder locker bleiben haben wir gesagt, kontern, wir haben gesagt, parieren. What is parieren?
To pair.
नहीं इसका जरा मुश्किल है ये. If you understand this word, you will be able to understand. Parry.
Parry.
Ha.
What is parry?
Peri
Ha.
penna. Peri penna.
Yeah.
I used to
Nice,
think
Abhi.
about that fairy, that French fries.
Nice, nice. Let's say somebody attacks you with a stick. लाठी से कोई हमला करता है. You also have a stick with you, and you parry the blow. That person attacks you with a stick, and you parry that here.
अच्छा आपने हाथ से रोक लेना.
Ha. So zum Stehen bringen. You parry that verbal attack. You give a
Neutral.
you give a counter reply, which stops that verbal attack from the other side. Also, zum Stehen bringen. Ja, zum Stehen bringen, das ist parieren. Provozieren kennen wir, schlagfertig sein kennen wir, schikanieren. Also jemanden ärgern, sehr viel Ärger geben.
Okay.
To bully somebody, to torment somebody. Das ist schikanieren. And I think the last one here, the rest we know. Verleumden. Jemanden diffamieren. The word here is diffamieren. To defame somebody, किसी को बदनाम करना. Das ist verleumden.
Yes, sir.
Okay? This can be taken to a court of law, by the way. Verletzen, verwirren?
Confused.
To confuse. Unsicher machen. Take the German meanings, please, if you're noting down. Please note the German meanings, it'll be easier.
The Durcheinander.
Yeah. Unsicher machen oder durcheinander bringen. Durcheinander bringen.
It's a synonym, sir. This Verwirren and Durcheinander.
Ja.
Or any some.
Ja, genau. Also ich gebe euch dann die Beispiele oder die Erklärungen auf Deutsch. I'm giving you the German equivalents in terms of meaning so that your vocabulary improves in that manner.
Yeah.
So instead of saying verleumden, man kann auch diffamieren sagen. So, yeah, in a way you're correct here, Anil. These sind Synonyme. Don't try to memorize all of them. The one you are confident of, the one you think you know and you can use safely, go ahead and use those. And believe me, there's a fair bit that you already know. Ignorieren, ironisieren, locker bleiben, sich entschuldigen, verletzen, überraschen, zustimmen, schlagfertig sein. Oh, you know a fair bit. So let's stop here. We'll now take up on Donnerstag. Machen wir weiter.
Yes,
Und
sir.
zwar mit dieser Übung hier. Let's hope you're able to read through and find out what goes where. How many of these 8 you can get? Also 2 haben wir schon gemacht. Diese 2. Beide sind A. So that leaves us mit 3 bis 8. Also 6 Sätze noch. Your reading strategy should be simple. First, read through the text. Read through the entire text the first time. Auch wenn man nichts versteht. Bis zum Ende lesen. Und dann Absatz für Absatz und dann Zeile für Zeile und dann Wort für Wort. Start with the whole thing and then keep shortening it. Right? The entire thing. If you're not confident paragraph wise, then after the entire text, come back sentence by sentence. And it should help you understand the text. It normally does. So, habt ihr noch Fragen zu dem Wortschatz heute oder zu, was wir bis jetzt gemacht haben heute?
Nein, Sir, ich muss raus. Danke, bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss.
Also wir treffen uns am Donnerstag, nicht morgen.
Ja.
Am Donnerstag.
Anuradha, yes, sir.
Okay, so
Vielen Dank, Sir.
ja, bis Donnerstag. Alles
Vielen
Gute.
Dank, Sir.
Bleibt cool, bleibt ruhig, keine Panik. Und einen schönen Tag wünsche ich euch allen noch.
Gleichfalls. Tschüss.
Danke, tschüss.